Hello, we're back again with It Matters, and I'm Jonathan Halstuch here with Sam Zaydel, the head of Brickstore Product Management. So today we're talking about hard drives and selecting the right drive. So let's start off with, why does the hard drive matter?
Drives are not created equal. We've got commercial, consumer drives that go into these things. We've got drives that go into servers. We've got drives that go into storage appliances. They're just not the same. They're meant to do different things. They're meant to perform in very different ways and support different workloads.
And so when you look at those different drives, let's start just by going at kind of what we talk about enterprise drives, and we see things like SAS versus SATA. What else beyond just those standard, protocol differentiators is different about the different types of enterprise drives?
I think of consumer drives as devices that just, get the job done in one machine where you don't need to have 20, 30, 40 of them. Enterprise drives, they're in critical environments. They're in situations where if a drive fails, are there other drives that are potentially impacted in some way?
Yeah, we've seen some interesting things too with drives that aren't quite dead, where they're starting to fail. And how does that play into that whole equation?
Some of the consumer type drives really handles badly, the drives that we've carefully selected for our products. They tend to perform fairly predictably. So we have some understanding of what we can expect when a drive doesn't behave.
In addition to selecting a particular brand or a model of hard drive, what else goes into kind of the configuration and how these drives are laid out or put into the system?
So it seems certain drives, and actually I think vendors don't always do a very good job of actually explaining why a particular drive should be chosen for a particular application, but some drives, things like the red drives that we hear about, they tend to not perform well as far as if you're building a very fast, very highly responsive array. Vendors tend to sort of say, well, certain drives have to respond within a particular amount of time.
Right.
Unless you really understand and actually find out from the vendor what that response is, you may be building a system that you think is actually a performance system, but in reality turns out being really kind of one of those archive time machines. And clearly, if you're trying to build a system that is an archive, you also don't want to go out and go after expensive drives, far more expensive drives, because then the value is lost. Right.
So understanding the workload, the overall intent, has to start at the very beginning.
Absolutely. I mean, if we're building something for example, VMware, we need to make sure that we can maintain latency requirements of the consumer. Otherwise, clearly, consumer does not perform as expected. And the same drives that we use for archive, we certainly don't want to use for virtual machines that could be doing many thousands of operations at any given time.
So is there anything else you think our audience should know about hard drives?
I think they need to know a whole lot more than they know now, and it's one of those things I think we need to keep coming back to over and over. It's definitely critical to pick the right hard drive. Just talking about hard drives, I mean, we haven't even touched SSDs.
Right.
Right hard drives matter. I think that's what it boils down to.
Well, thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us for another It Matters. Join us next time for some more info about SSDs and hard drives. A lot more to learn. Sam's got a lot more to tell us, and I look forward to it. So again, thanks. Check out more at www.racktopsystems.com, and if you want to look for more hard drives within shared storage, check out our Brickstore product. Take care.